Hey biology students, this is Praful Sharma, biology lecturer TUP School Amit. In our today's session, we are going to sum up chapter 8, Cell, the Unit of Life, NCERT book class 11. As we all know that all organisms are composed of cells. Some are composed of a single cell and are called unicellular, while others like us composed of many cells and are called multicellular organism. So what in general is a cell? Unicellular organisms are capable of independent existence and performing the essential functions of life. Anything less than a complete structure of a cell doesn't ensure independent living. Hence, cell is the fundamental structural and fundamental unit of all living organisms. Anton von Leeuwenhoek first saw and described a living cell. Robert Brown later discovered the nucleus. The invention of the microscope and its improvement leading to the electron microscope revealed all the structure details of the cell. In 1838, Matthias Schleiden, a German botanist, examined a large number of plants and observed that all plants are composed of different kinds of cells, which form the tissue of the plant. At about the same time, Theodore Swan in 1839, a British zoologist, studied different types of animal cells and reported that cells had a thin outer layer, which is today known as plasma membrane. He also concluded, based on his studies on plant tissue, that the presence of cell wall is a unique characteristic of a plant cell. On the basis of this, Swan proposed the hypothesis that the bodies of animals and plants are composed of cells and products of cells. Schleiden and Swan together formulated the cell theory. This theory, however, didn't explain as to how new cells were formed. Rudolf Virchow in 1855 first explained that cells divided and new cells are formed from pre-existing cells. Omnis cellula e cellulae. He modified the hypothesis of Schleiden and Swan to give the cell theory a final shape. Cell theory as understood today is that like all living organisms are composed of cells and are products of cells, and all cells arises from pre-existing cells. Cells differ greatly in size, shape and activities. For example, mycoplasmas, the smallest cell, are only 0.3 micron in length, while bacteria could be 3 to 5 micrometer in size. The largest isolated single cell is the egg of an ostrich. Among multicellular organisms, human red blood cells are about 7 micron in diameter. Nerve cells are some of the longest cells. Cells also vary greatly in their shape. They may be disc-like, polygonal, columnar, cuboidal, thread-like, or even irregular. The shape of the cell may vary with the function they perform. Let's start with the first, prokaryotic cells. The prokaryotic cells are represented by bacteria, blue-green algae, mycoplasma and PPLO, that is pleuropneumonia-like organisms. They are generally smaller and multiply more rapidly than the eukaryotic cell. They may vary greatly in shape and size. The four basic shapes of bacteria are bacillus, the rod-shaped, coccus, spherical, vibrio, coma-shaped, and spirillum, spiral in shape. The organization of the prokaryotic cell is fundamentally similar, even though prokaryotes exhibit a wide variety of shapes and functions. All prokaryotes have a cell wall surrounding the cell membrane except in mycoplasma. The fluid matrix filling the cell is the cytoplasm. There is no well-defined nucleus. The genetic material is basically naked. not enveloped by a nuclear membrane. In addition to the genomic DNA, many bacteria have small circular DNA outside the genomic DNA. These smaller DNAs are called plasmids. The plasmid DNA confirms certain unique phenotypic characters to such bacteria. One such character is resistance to antibiotic. Nuclear membrane is found in eukaryotes. No organelles like the one in eukaryote are found in prokaryotic cells except for ribosomes. Prokaryotes have something unique in the form of inclusions, a specialized differentiated form of cell membrane that called mesosome is the characteristic feature of a prokaryote. They are essentially infoldings of cell membrane. Most prokaryotic cells, particularly the bacterial cells, have a chemically complex cell envelope. The cell envelope consists of a tightly bound 3-layered structure. Bacteria can also be classified into two groups on the basis of the differences in the cell envelope and the manner in which they respond to the staining. They can be gram positive, those that take up the gram stain, and others that do not are called gram negative bacteria. Glycocalyx differ in composition and thickness among different bacteria. It could be a loose sheath called the slime layer, while in others it may be thick and tough called the capsule. The cell wall determines the shape of the cell and provides a strong structural support to prevent the bacterium from bursting or collapsing. The plasma membrane is selectively permeable in nature and interacts with the outside world. This membrane is similar structurally to that of the eukaryotes. A special membranous structure is the mesosome, which is formed by the extension of plasma membrane into the cell. These extensions are in the form of vesicles, tubules, and lamellae. They help in cell wall formation, DNA replication, and distribution of the daughter cells. They also help in respiration, secretion processes to increase the surface area of plasma membrane and enzymatic content. Bacterial cells may be motile or non-motile. If they motile, they have thin filamentous extensions from their cell wall called flagella. Bacteria show a range in number and a rearrangement of flagella. Bacterial flagellum is composed of 3 parts: filament, hook, and the basal body. The filament is the longest portion and extends from the cell surface to the outside. Besides flagella, pili and fimbriae are also surface structures of the bacteria but do not play a role in motility. The pili are elongated tubular structure made of a special protein. The fimbriae are small bristle-like fibers sprouting out of the cell. In some bacteria, they are known to help attach the bacteria to rocks in a stream and also to the host tissues. In prokaryotes, ribosomes are associated with the plasma membrane of the cell. They are about 15 nanometer by 20 nanometer in size and are made up of 2 subunits, 50S and 30S. Ribosomes are the site of protein synthesis. Let's talk about the eukaryotic cell now. The eukaryotic cell include all the protists, plants, animals, and fungi. In eukaryotic cells, there is an extensive compartmentalization of cytoplasm through the presence of membrane-bound organelles. Eukaryotic cells possesses an organized nucleus with a nuclear envelope. In addition, eukaryotic cells have a variety of complex locomotory and cytoskeleton structures. Their genetic material is organized into chromosomes. All eukaryotic cells are not identical. Plants and animal cells are different as the former possesses cell wall, plastid, and a large central vacuole which are absent in animal cells. On the other hand, animal cells have centrioles which are absent in a plant cell. You can look the diagram of a plant cell and an animal cell and can find out and understand the individual cell organelles and their structure and function. Let's talk about the cell membrane first. The detailed structure of the membrane was studied only after the advancement of electron microscope in 1950s. Meanwhile, chemical studies on the cell membrane, especially in human RBC, enabled the scientists to deduce the possible structure of plasma membrane. These studies showed that the cell membrane is mainly composed of lipids and proteins. The major lipids are phospholipids that are arranged in a bilayer. Also, the lipids are arranged within the membrane with the polar head towards the outer side and the hydrophobic tails towards the inner part. This ensures that the non-polar tail of saturated hydrocarbon is protected from the aqueous environment. Later, biochemical investigation clearly revealed that the cell membranes also possess protein and carbohydrates. The ratio of protein and lipid varies considerably in different cell types. In human being, the membrane of erythrocyte has approximately 52% protein and 40% lipids. Depending on the ease of extraction, membrane proteins can be classified as integral or peripheral. Peripheral proteins lie on the surface of membrane, while the integral proteins are partially or totally buried in the membrane. An improved model of the structure of cell membrane was proposed by Singer and Nicholson in 1972, and it was widely accepted as fluid mosaic model. According to this, the quasi-fluid nature of lipid enables lateral movement of proteins within the overall bilayer. This ability to move within the membrane is measured as its fluidity. The fluid nature of the membrane is also important from the point of view of functions like cell growth, formation of intercellular junctions, secretions, endocytosis, cell division, etc. One of the most important functions of the plasma membrane is the transport of molecules across it. The membrane is selectively permeable to some molecules present on either side of it. Many molecules can move briefly across the membrane without any requirement of energy, and this is called the passive transport. Neutral solutes may move across the membrane by the process of simple diffusion along the concentration gradient. That means from higher concentration to the lower. Water may also move. Water simply by diffusion, which we call as osmosis. As the polar molecule cannot pass through the non-polar lipid layer, they require a carrier protein of the membrane to facilitate their transport across the membrane. This is what is called active transport because many a times it utilizes ATP. Let's talk about the cell wall. As we may recall, a non-living rigid structure called the cell wall forms an outer covering of the plasma membrane of fungi and plants. Cell wall not only gives shape to the cell and protects the cell from mechanical damage and infection, it also helps in cell-to-cell interaction and provides barrier to undesirable macromolecules. In cell wall of young plant cells, the primary wall is capable of growth, which gradually diminishes as the cell matures, and the secondary wall is formed on the inner side of the cell. The middle lamella is a layer mainly of calcium pectate, which holds or glues the different neighboring cells together. The cell wall and middle lamella may be transversed by plasmodesmata, which connect the cytoplasm of neighboring cells. Let us understand the endomembrane system in cells. While each of the membranous organelle is distinct in terms of its structure and function, many of these are considered together as an endomembrane system because their functions are coordinated. The first one is the endoplasmic reticulum. Electron microscopic studies of eukaryotic cells reveal the presence of a network of reticulum of tiny tubular structures scattered in the cytoplasm called the endoplasmic reticulum. Hence, ER divides the intercellular space into two distinct compartments, that is, luminal and extraluminal. The ER often shows ribosomes attached to its outer surface. The endoplasmic reticulum bearing ribosomes on their surface is called rough endoplasmic reticulum. In the absence of ribosomes, they appear smooth and are called smooth endoplasmic reticulum. RER is frequently observed in the cells actively involved in protein synthesis and secretion. They are extensive and continuous with the outer membrane of the nucleus. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum SER is the major site for synthesis of lipid. Camillo Golgi in 1898 first observed densely stained reticular structures near the nucleus. These were later named Golgi bodies after him. They consist of many flat, disc-shaped sacs or cisternae. These are stacked parallel to each other. Varied number of cisternae are present in Golgi complex. The Golgi cisternae are concentrically arranged near the nucleus with distinct convex cis or face and concave trans or the maturing face. The cis and the trans faces of the organelle are entirely different but interconnected. The Golgi apparatus principally perform the function of packaging materials to be delivered either to the intracellular targets or secreted outside the cell. Materials to be packaged in the form of vesicles from the ER fuse with the cis phase of the Golgi apparatus and move towards the maturing phase. This explains why the Golgi apparatus remains in the close association with the ER. A number of proteins synthesized by ribosomes on the ER are modified in the cisternae of Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus is the important site of formation of glycoproteins and glycolipids. Let's talk about the next cell organelle, lysosome. These are membrane-bound vesicular structures formed by the process of packaging in the Golgi apparatus. The isolated lysosomal vesicles have been found to be very rich in almost all type of hydrolytic enzymes, optimally active at the acidic pH. These enzymes are capable of digesting carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. The next cell organelle is vacuole. The vacuole is the membrane-bound space found in the cytoplasm. It contains water, sap, excretory product, and other materials not useful for the cell. The vacuole is bound by a single membrane called tonoplast. In plant cells, the vacuole can occupy up to 90% of the volume of the cell. In plants, the tonoplast facilitates the transport of a number of ions and other materials against concentration gradients into the vacuole. Hence, their concentration is significantly higher in the vacuole than in the cytoplasm. In amoeba, the contractile vacuole is important for osmoregulation and excretion purpose. In many cells, as in protists, food vacuoles are formed by the engulfing the food particles. Let's move on to the next cell organelle, mitochondria. Mitochondria, unless specifically stained, are not easily visible under the microscope. The number of mitochondria per cell is variable depending on the physiological activity of the cell. In terms of shape and size also, considerable degree of variability is observed. Each mitochondria is a double membrane bound structure with the outer membrane and the inner membrane dividing its lumen distinctly into the two aqueous compartments, the outer compartment and the inner compartment. The inner compartment is filled with a dense homogeneous substance called the matrix. The outer membrane forms the continuous limiting boundary of the organelle. The inner membrane forms a number of enfoldings. These are called generally as cristae or crista, which is singular, towards the matrix. The cristae increases the surface area. The two membranes have their own specific enzymes associated with the mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are the site of aerobic respiration. They produce cellular energy in the form of ATP, hence they are called powerhouse of the cell. The matrix also possesses single circular DNA molecule, a few RNA molecule, ribosomes, and the components required for the synthesis of proteins. The next cell organelle is plastid. Plastids are found in all plant cells and in euglenoids. These are easily observed under the microscope as they are large. They bear some specific pigments, thus imparting specific colors to the plants. Based on the type of pigments, plastids can be classified into chloroplasts, chromoplasts, and leucoplasts. The chloroplast contains chlorophyll and carotenoid pigments which are responsible for trapping light energy essential for photosynthesis. In the chromoplast, fat-soluble carotenoid pigments like carotene, xanthophyll, and other are present. This gives the part of the plant a yellow, orange, or red color. The leucoplasts are the colorless plastid of varied shapes and size with stored nutrients. Amyloplasts store carbohydrate, for example in potato. Elioplast stores oil and fats, whereas the aleuroplasts store proteins. Majority of the chloroplasts of the green plants are found in the mesophyll cells of the leaves. Like mitochondria, the chloroplasts are also double membrane bound. Of the two, the inner chloroplast membrane is relatively less permeable. The space limited by the inner membrane of the chloroplast is called the stroma. A number of organized flattened membranous sacs called the thylakoids are present in the stroma. Thylakoids are arranged in stacks like the piles of coins called grana or the integral thylakoids. In addition, there are flat membranous tubules called the stroma lamellae connecting the thylakoids of the different grana. The membrane of thylakoids enclose a space called a lumen. The stroma of chloroplast contains enzymes required for the synthesis of carbohydrates and proteins. It also contains small double-stranded circular DNA molecule and ribosomes. Chlorophyll pigments are present in thylakoids. The ribosomes of the chloroplast are smaller, 70S type, than the cytoplasmic ribosome, which is 80S type. Let's discuss ribosomes. Ribosomes are the granular structure first observed under the electron microscope as dense particle by George Palade in 1953. They are composed of ribonucleic acid, which is RNA, and proteins, and are not surrounded by any membrane. The eukaryotic ribosomes are 80S, while the prokaryotic ribosomes are 70S. Each ribosome has two subunits, larger and smaller. The two subunits of 80S ribosome are 60 and 40S, while that of 70S ribosome are 50 and 30S. Here, S, Swedberg's unit, stands for the sedimentation coefficient. It is indirectly a measure of density and size. Both 70S and 80S ribosomes are composed of two subunits. Let's talk about next we have centrosome and centrioles. Centrosome is an organelle usually containing two cylindrical structures called centrioles. They are surrounded by amorphous pericentriolar materials. Both the centrioles in the centrosome lie perpendicular to each other, in which each has an organization like the cartwheel. They are made up of 9 evenly spaced peripheral fibrils of tubulin protein. Each of the peripheral fibril is a triplet. the adjacent triplates are also linked. The central part of the proximal region of the centriole is also proteinaceous and called the hub, which is connected with tubules of the peripheral triplates by radial spokes made of protein. The centriole from the basal body of cilia or flagella and spindle fiber give rise to spindle apparatus during cell division in animal cells. The next cell organelle here is nucleus. Nucleus as a cell organelle was first described by Robert Brown as early as 1831. Later, the material of the nucleus stained by the basic dyes was given the name chromatin by Fleming. The interphase nucleus has highly extended and elaborate nucleoprotein fiber called chromatin, nuclear matrix, and a spherical body called nucleoli. Electron microscopy has revealed that the nuclear envelope, which consists of two parallel membranes with a space between called the perinuclear space, forms a barrier between the materials present inside the nucleus and that of the cytoplasm. The outer membrane usually remains continuous with the endoplasmic reticulum and also bears ribosome in it. At a number of places, the nuclear envelope is interrupted by minute pores, which are formed by the fusion of its two membranes. These nuclear pores are the passage through which movement of RNA and protein molecules takes place. Normally, there is only one nucleus per cell. Variation in the number of nuclei are also frequently observed. The nuclear matrix on the nucleoplasm contains nucleolus and chromatin. The nucleoli are spherical structures present in the nucleoplasm. The content of nucleolus is continuous with the rest of the nucleoplasm as it is not a membrane-bound structure. It is a site for active ribosomal RNA synthesis. Larger and more numerous nucleoli are present in cells actively carrying out protein synthesis. We may recall that the interphase nucleus has a loose, indistinct network of nucleoprotein called chromatin. But during different stages of cell division, cells show structured chromosomes in place of nucleus. Chromatin contains DNA and some basic proteins called histones. Some non-histone proteins are also there and also the RNA. A single human cell has approximately 2-meter long thread of DNA distributed among its 46 chromosomes. Early chromosome essentially has a primary constriction or the centromere, on the side of which disc-shaped structure called kinetochore are present. Centromere holds two chromatids of a chromosome. Based on the position of centromere, the chromosomes can be classified into 4 types. The metacentric chromosome has middle centromere forming 2 equal arms of the chromosome. The submetacentric chromosome has centromere slightly away from the middle of the chromosome, resulting in 1 shorter arm and 1 longer arm. In case of acrocentric chromosome, the centromere is situated close to its end, forming 1 extremely short and 1 very long arm. Whereas the telocentric chromosome has a terminal centromere. Sometimes a new chromosome or a few chromosomes have non-staining secondary construction at a constant location. This gives the appearance of a small fragment called the satellite. The last cell organelle is microbodies. Many membrane-bound minute vesicles called microbodies that contain various enzymes are present in both plants and animal cells. Here we are done with this chapter. I hope you will understand all these concepts clearly. I'll be here soon. Have a nice day.